Hi, welcome back to the second half of Next Big Tech Asia 2021 virtual conference. I am Dr. Ram Gopal Raj, Director of Strategy and Innovation at AirAsia Academy, Malaysia, and I will be your chairperson for the second half of today. I hope it has been an informative day for all of you attendees out there, so let's keep this ball rolling. Join me as I welcome our next presenter for this session, Dr. Tuhin Chattopadhyay, founder and chief executive officer of Tuhin AI Advisory, who will be speaking on disruptive technologies for Industry 4.0. Over to you, Dr. Tuhin.
A very good afternoon to all the folks of Malaysia, and very good morning to India, and depending on your time zone. Wish you a very good day, and it's indeed a pleasure. It's indeed a pleasure to come back to Next Big Tech Asia. I was there in the second one, and then coming back to this one as well. It's such a wonderful thing. So I'm going to cover today the key industrial technologies for Industry 4.0, and what I'm going to cover is primarily artificial intelligence, business analytics, robotic process automation, cybersecurity, and obviously the blockchain part. So let's start with artificial intelligence. That is something kind of buzzword in today's era. It has its roots some decades back when we had neural networks. It's not something very new, by the way. Though the applications like facial recognition, speech recognitions, those applications are pretty new, but it has its roots in neural networks, and we use it for quite some time in the sense for last 50 years or so. This neural network is absolutely in vogue. But yeah, with the advent of social media, the applications have increased. Now, with the demand of the new applications like speech recognition, like the image recognition, the complexity or the sophistication of the neural networks has increased, has augmented multifolds. So initially we had neural networks with some 5 hidden layers at max, but now it has increased to some 100, 300, 500 deep neural networks have come. And of course, from there, the deep learning comes. I don't have any intent to educate you about the inner complexities of the algorithms, but rather I shall focus you on the multiple applications that all these technologies are having today, and how we can leverage the power of these technologies for our business. That's something extremely critical for all of us, especially when most of us are having a kind of business backgrounds. Yeah, let's move to the next slide. Yeah, I guess we are there. Yeah. About my profile, the first 10 years I spent in industry, and then the academics, went to taught into leading big schools of the country, worked with multiple companies like SC Nielsen, worked in multiple countries, including US and Southeast Asia. And finally, I opened my own company. I got multiple awards like top 10 data scientist in India. And currently, I am having my consultancy in most of the verticals of Industry 4.0. Let's proceed to the next slide. Yeah, so as I was saying, the applications of AI are phenomenal these days. We can have the complete monitoring of the traffic system, what kind of cars are flying at what roads, at what speed, who is driving, where from to which place, and what point of time, what is the duration. So all the granular details are at the tip of the finger of the folks or the administrator who is monitoring. The beauty of this application is not restricted for traffic monitoring only. It is widely used. It is widely used for the police system, the crime prevention branch of most of the cities. They keep a complete eye on what kind of traffic are moving at what particular car are moving from which place to the another place. So everything has been completely been monitored on a real-time basis. That can be dashboarded. That can be seen from the screen. Every details are there. So that's one of the big advantage, I would say, of artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is about the automatic number plate recognition. So that goes, with hand in hand. It goes hand in hand with the traffic monitoring. So through our image recognition technology, we can pretty well understand from the camera only that what particular car. Of course, we have got the chips. We can understand what particular car is flying, but then we have got the automatic number plate recognition as well. So you can question that what is the necessity? What is the necessity that if I can understand from the chips through the kind of RFID technology or any technologies that what car is flying, then why do I require a kind of number plate recognition? Because many a times a lot of crime take place when the change in the number plates. So that way it's a kind of cross validation. We get the car track, car's registration number, all the details can be tracked even from the chip in the car and the scanners on the different spots in the road, and that can be double checked, cross verified with the registration number plate that yes, whatever the information is coming from the chip and whatever the number plate that is saying, are they in the same page? They are talking to each other, or there is some kind of gap. So that's why I'm saying that this technology is not just for traffic management, it is also for the benefit of crime prevention. That's a very, very, very critical part. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so as the operations goes in any factory, there were times that this was done either manually or by robot. But nowadays, again, AI plays a very critical part. Not just they automate the process, but also the images of the boxes are being taken. Recently, I was working on a particular project where there was camera, and that was a kind of the factory of producing towels, and they want to know that where exactly to cut the piece of the cloth. So there are multiple ways to do it, right? One way is the looking at the weight of the cloth pieces and then put the cuts at exactly once a particular weight has been marked. The other thing is that there are some cut marks. The camera understands what is the cut mark, and then naturally the chopper goes to cut or to separate the piece of towel from the piece of the stretch or the stream of cloth. So these are the kind of lot of automated warehouse operations come where this computer vision takes a critical role. Now, as I was discussing with you that how the computer vision comes, so we have got kind of algorithms like convolutional neural network, which has got different variants, obviously, like RCNN, MCNN, fast CNN, faster CNN, but they all try to figure out pixel by pixel. They understand pixel by pixel that what exactly is there in every pixel, and then they finally generate an output. As I said, that can be a huge number of deep layers or hidden layers within it, and they exactly throw the output. Yes, this is exactly a cat, or this is a dog, or this is a box, this is a towel, whatever it is. So it can recognize post I train the model. So that's the beauty of computer vision. The same way the speech recognition can also take place, right? If I can train my model that yes, this is the voice of Tuhin, and then how this voice is different from Ram, computer can pretty well recognize these two voice and segregate. Yes, they can say that yes by looking at the different bytes of this voice, and they can segregate yes, this is the voice of X from Y. So that's the beauty. Next slide, please. Yeah, there is a human and PP detection, and all the more important in the COVID scenario. We know that in many of the countries, people don't generally follow the rules. Yeah, the government always frames the rules, but not that every person follow it. So this gives a kind of wonderful application to figure out in an automated way that whosoever doesn't follow the regulations, restrictions. So it is it's a kind of auto policing. Policing need not be done kind of manual way. Not that, in many countries, it becomes the responsibility of the security persons or the police to figure out that whether in the COVID scenario, the PPE or the masks have been worn by all the folks or not. But those things can be pretty well figured out by computer vision. That's the beauty of AI. That's the kind of, if we can bring this into application, two things will occur. Number one, obviously the spread of COVID, because I have a kind of complete 24/7 detection or monitoring of the folks who are wearing PPE or who are wearing masks, depending on the requirement. And number two is that I can employ my police forces for some better operations, better job where they are much more needed than just, figuring out whether the general public are following the protocols or not. Okay, let's move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is something again very interesting application, I would say. So fashion designing, we are used to go to the trial rooms in any of the clothing store, right? We typically go to the trial store, trial room. There is a mirror in the trial room, and then we kind of see that whether how does this jacket look on me, whether this fits me well or not. Lot of we take a couple of them and then try it. But then imagine you are in a big store and there are so many interesting attire there, so many interesting jackets, so many interesting stuffs are there. Can you really take each of them to the trial room and then see how you look? That would really be not possible, right? For practical reasons. So here comes the AI at your rescue. You can pretty well, stand in from a kind of AI cam. The cam will take your pic, and then you can select either physically by taking the cloth or from the screen. You can just browse the different jackets, figure out the right jacket for you, or whatever kind of pair of denims for you, and then see how it looks on you without wearing them. It is the responsibility of the AI system to put that jacket, to put that denim on you, and give you a complete kind of image in front of you to give you a kind of idea that how it look. You might look very great there. It not only ends there. Now the next part is all the more funny and important. It doesn't just tell you how you look on your chosen clothes. The algorithm takes one step ahead. It also recommends, given your you can say that, yeah, given your attitude, given your personality, given the occasion for you are planning to purchase the attires, it can pretty well recommend you as well that what kind of jackets or denims will fit you the best. And you can also give multiple filters that, yeah, you might not want it to be more than 500 USD or more than $1,000. So whatever is your budget, you can give a kind of cap to it. You can filter by different things, but everything can be done through AI platform. You need not physically do it. You may not even visit the store for that matter. You can do everything online, sitting at the comfort of your home. So the online purchasing is no more just our way of Amazon, just browsing through the product and order it. It has actually moves in leaps and bounds, especially especially nowadays. Also, you can see that if you want to purchase a pair of frames, some spectacle, they will typically show you that how that fits, what particular frame suits you. If you just give your selfie to that platform. So that's the power, that's the beauty. I hope you are enjoying and you will leverage such kind of applications for your business as well. Yeah. So yeah, let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So let me give a pause to this video.
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people...
Yeah. So I guess, let's let me discuss to the let me go to the let me discuss the fundamentals of analytics before I show you a visualization for the charts. Because yeah, charts you can see, yeah, that is Excel. I have prepared chart for from my childhood. What is analytics about it, right? Now, analytics is something very interesting. It is much more than just visualizations or just dashboards. Analytics is when I say analytics, I mean not the descriptive analytics. I'm talking about the predictive analytics, where I can pretty well predict precisely. Say for instance, you want to. I take a very simple example. Say the sales of ice cream and the temperature in your city. Now we all know, right? Sales of ice creams are dependent on the temperature in the city. So if I can plot, say you are running a kind of store, ice cream store, Baskin Robbins or something like that, and if you have a kind of equation in front of you, yeah, if it is kind of 35 degrees Celsius, my sales is 6,000. If it is 34 degrees Celsius, my sales is somewhere around 5,500. If it is kind of 38 degrees Celsius, it shoots to 8,000 cells. So if you can, have a kind of clear equation in front of you. So if on some day the temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, just by looking at the equation, you can pretty well predict that what should be the sales of the ice cream on that particular day much beforehand. So that's the kind of beauty of predictive analytics. You can predict straight away. There are hundreds of business applications like by looking at how much you are going to spend on advertisement or what should be the price, that can determine your sales as well, right? So that's the power of predictive analytics. There is another realm which is called the prescriptive analytics. That shows exactly suppose you have got a kind of $1 million kitty as a marketing manager, then how you should allocate your kitty to the different promotions. How much should you allocate to Facebook ads? How much should you allocate to YouTube ad? How much should you allocate to the other social media? How much to allocate to Google for that matter? And it is not like that, if you keep boosting the money to one particular channel, it will keep increasing. So advertisement always, go through a kind of, after some point, it increases at a decreasing rate and then it smoothens down. So there are constraints in your models. That's what we technically call the constraints. So typically prescriptive analytics will help you to prescribe or help you to take a decision at how much you can allocate through optimization techniques. So a lot of optimization techniques come for the prescriptive analytics. So can you go back to the previous slide? Previous, not the next. Previous, I mentioned. Previous, yeah. And now drag the video maybe somewhere in the middle. So this piece of a kind of famous YouTube, you can YouTube also you can find it. That you can play it and then drag it. After playing, you can drag it. Yeah. Yeah. Let it play and then you can play the video. Yeah. Can you drag it? Drag in the center and come to the middle of the
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too.
Yeah.
Great year. The war was over. Sweden topped the medal table at the World War. And the Spanish flu epidemic. What a catastrophe. And now I speed up through the 1920s and the 1930s. And in spite of the Great Depression, Western countries forge on towards greater wealth and health. Japan and some others try to follow, but most countries stay down here. Now, after the tragedies of the Second World War, we stop a bit to look at the world in 1948. 1948 was a great year. The war was over, Sweden topped the medal table at the Winter Olympics, and I was born. But the differences between the countries of the world was wider than ever. United States was in the front, Japan was catching up, Brazil was way behind, Iran was getting a little richer from...
Why you are showing this, 1 minute clip to you is that it is about dynamic visualization nowadays. It is not just, you can even see this video, it is in YouTube and Rosling. And there's a beautiful dynamic video. So dynamic visualization in the sense the data streams in and then on a real-time basis, the charts keep moving. It is not a kind of static bar chart or pie chart. It is all about dynamic these days. So your chart will keep talking and keep in complete pace with the changing scenario. That's the beauty. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So these are kind of Tableau chart what we use for visualizations. Next slide, and let's move to block 10 in the interest of time. Next slide. Yeah. So let's move to the AI analytics. We have understood a bit. Now let's move to the blockchain. I'm sure many of you are investing in cryptocurrency these days. It is something very hard. You must be knowing what are blocks and what's a chain. We capture the data in the blocks, and then when the data keeps getting captured, it creates a chain. And the beauty is that this is a kind of distributed database. So depending on whether it's centralized or decentralized, for a kind of cryptocurrency, it is decentralized. So there are many persons who are the owner, and everybody knows that what kind of transaction takes place. But why I'm showing you this thing is that, let's move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So the application of blockchain is not just restricted to digital currency. That's something very important. Not just restricted to bitcoins and cryptocurrency. That's a very limited view of blockchain. So the same technology that the data are getting captured, we are creating chains of these blocks, and then that is immutable. You cannot reverse it. So those things can be used for smart contracts. Say, for example, you are a music producer, and then in the discs or in the radio, your musics are getting played. So you can have a kind of smart contract every time your music gets played. So some cents may be accrued to your account, credited to your account. So those kind of smart contracts can be created, or it can be used for the securities markets like equity, debt, crowdfunding. So every time a subscription goes for a crowdfunding, your ledger book gets updated. So that's for the record keeping as well, right? So that's the kind of, it's a huge application of blockchain. Next slide, please. The robotic process automation. So please remember that RPA or robotic process automation does not necessarily mean a robot will enter and do some work for you, go from place A to place B. Robotic process automation does not necessarily mean robotics, by the way. So the beauty is that whenever or wherever there's a kind of repetitive job that comes into rescue for the manual labor and automate the stuff. Say, for example, you are doing an accounting job, as simple as that. You are supposed to take some figures from your balance sheet and put into another Excel sheet. That's a kind of repetitive job. You have to look at the balance sheet and put it. So this kind of repetitive job can easily be integrated through RPA and can be automated. So that's the beauty. Or even it can figure out, suppose from handwriting also. So what we can do is that nowadays we just don't use these technologies in isolation. That's another beauty. We combine AI with RPA. We combine analytics, AI, and RPA. So a lot of technologies are combined. So for instance, something is that we call it cognitive automation, where the computer vision of AI is integrated with the RPA part, and then we develop complex application. So the computer vision understands what is there in front of it, and then the RPA, the automation, actually takes it forward for the next steps. So that's the beauty of the integration of multiple verticals. Last but not the least, we will end with the cybersecurity part. So next slide, please. Yeah, these are the RP application, by the way. It is in the healthcare, insurance, HR, telecom, everywhere we can use this RPA. Yeah. Next slide. So cybersecurity is extremely critical because of this ransomware. There are a lot of phishing attacks. So the world is absolutely dirty, and you must all be knowing what is happening in the deep net and the dark web, and what all things are getting sold. So cybersecurity becomes extremely critical because all these technologies, what I discussed so far, RPA, blockchain analytics, AI, the entire operating system, all your project technologies will be jeopardized if your security of the network is not at the right place. So that is something extremely critical. So let's move to the next slide. What all we can do to keep it safe and secure. So yeah, we can take all the right credentials, all the right measures. We have to secure by multiple layers, firewalls, to ensure that not only it's about the personal, but for your companies, it is about the organization's security. Is all the more important, right? Because you are working with clients' data, and the ransomware, the figures where it reaches, you are bound to pay some kind of negotiations you have to come to if you don't give enough security wall to your organization's projects. So that's what, at the kind of icing on all this cake is the cybersecurity part. That yes, your AI analytics, blockchain, RPA, they are super. They help you to increase the revenues, save a lot of millions of dollars. But then your cybersecurity should be extremely strong. So yeah, with that, I end my presentation. Thank you so much. Let's take the questions for the last 5 minutes. You're on mute, Dr. Ram, I guess. Dr. Ram, you're on mute. Dr. Ram, you're on mute.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tuhin, for your insights and overview on the disruptive technologies that have been coming out across the various different industries. And we do have a couple of questions for you. First one, how disruptive technology has affected businesses on a global level?
Oh, completely. So if you look at the trajectory, how any business you can take, where you could never feel, say manufacturing. See, services we know, like airlines, hotel booking, that we know that technologies are being applied. With the technology, you can book a flight. But say a typical traditional manufacturing industry, where we couldn't even think of, the technology per se, the factories. But nowadays we have the sensors in each of the machines, which we call the IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things, and the sensors keep emitting the data continuously, and through that analytics works, and we can predict when a machine can fail precisely. So that's a kind of predictive maintenance, that what we say. So it has completely changed. The disruptive technologies have completely changed the world in any sector. You can take aviation again, the same thing. The Rolls-Royce engines of the airlines, they keep emitting the data continuously. Gigabytes of data, terabytes of data per second gets emitted, and we continuously monitor the flight engines, even it is on the flight. So it has completely changed the way we look at the business. Yeah, and of course, it goes without saying the service industry, how we interact. It is all dependent on technology.
Right. Okay. Very great insights. Thanks for making it an aviation example. Our next question is, which disruptive technology, in your opinion, could drive faster decision making and accelerate change processes and cut through different cultural challenges?
Well, it is not about choosing A versus B. It is not whether I shall choose AI or should I choose RPA. Should I choose analytics or blockchain? No. The ideal or the goal is how all the technologies can be combined, and then the power of these technologies can be leveraged. As I gave the example of cognitive automation. So I am integrating computer vision or the AI part before the automation. So it is about integration of the technology smartly. So that's where the future lies. It is not about cloud computing is separate from analytics, or data engineering is separate from analytics. Of course, they're separate. But if I combine all of them together, then the power increases multifold. So that's where we should head towards, how we can integrate the different technologies and get the maximum benefit out of it.
That's great. Just to sum up, Dr. Tuhin, what would you tell the audience are the three things that they need to look at moving forward? What are the three most achievable aspects of disruptive technologies that they can use moving forward?
Well, first and foremost, you have to be constantly updated. What is that? what is augmented reality, how augmented reality helps in your business, unless you are completely cognizant about the different technologies, then it is absolutely impossible to apply it. So once, say, the first layer is your own awareness part that you have to constantly update. The number two is the change management, I would say. Change management in the sense that many a times there are a lot of mental barriers from the employees, from the different co-workers, that they're comfortable of doing things in one way. They might not want to change that thing. So that is a kind of cultural things that again varies from country to country. In some countries there is a strong barrier, some countries are more open, but to embrace the technology, the change management part is extremely critical. And the third part is about the right manpower to groom, to apply the technology. So you understand, you made the change, now you have to apply it. So your manpower should be there to apply them, and for that purpose, the right training, right development of the manpower, so that they can understand the power and then apply at the right point of time. So these are the steps one should follow: awareness, change management, and application through the training process for the real change to make.
Thank you once again, Dr. Tuhin, for taking time to share your thoughts with all of us today. We will now be moving forward to our next session of the day, which will begin shortly. Please do click the join session button, and we will see you in a short while.